Coming up in our headlines, Social Security and National Insurance Trust (SNIT) increases monthly pension payment by 15%. Also in this bulletin, a former director of the African Development Bank warns Eurobond holders may not lend to African countries such as Ghana and Ethiopia in the future due to default in repaying loans. Plus, Cybersecurity Authority bars service providers without licenses from operating in Ghana. We have these and many more for you shortly. The Joy Business Report is brought to you by EcoBank, your Pan-African bank. I am Pius Kojobaka. And look now at our stories. Eurobond holders may not lend to African countries such as Ghana and Ethiopia in the future due to default in repaying their debt. That's according to Gabriel Negatu, a senior fellow at the African Council, who is also a former director of the African Development Bank. He therefore wants the International Monetary Fund to ensure debt-ravaged countries get favorable terms from bilateral creditors over debt restructuring. He was speaking to Kenya-based CGNT and Africa on the optimism by the IMF that Ghana will reach an agreement with official creditors soon over the restructuring of external debt.
Countries are between a rock and a hard place where they need to borrow, and the Eurobond, particularly in the future, is very unlikely to be lending to African countries who are going to turn around and say, we'll treat you equitably with everyone else. And the other side, bilateral lenders, concessional lenders, and so on, who operate under different operating modus operandi. So this is a negotiation that has to take place because on one hand, you have the G20. On the other hand, you have the commercial lenders. And African countries are sort of caught between these two in the middle. And I would imagine this is that the role, like for an institution like the fund, to get between these two and say, okay, how do we manage this? You know, who gets paid first, who's subordinated, who comes later, because this equitable treatment requires everyone, every lender, commercial and non-commercial, to be treated the same way.
Gabriel Nagatu is a senior fellow at the African Development Council, who is also the former director of African Development Bank, speaking there. Now, SNIT, in consultation with the National Pensions Regulatory Authority, has indexed monthly pensions upwards by 15% for the year 2024. By this, the monthly payment for pensioners have been increased by 15%. According to SNIT, all pensioners on its pension payroll will have their monthly pension increased by a fixed rate of 10% in addition to a redistributed flat amount of 79 cedis 10 pesos. Speaking at the launch of the 2024 Pension Indexation Report, Chief Actuary Joseph Poku said the trust is focused on expanding and deepening coverage of the basic National Social Security Scheme to benefit workers who will go on retirement in the future.
So Section 80 of the National Pensions Act of 2008, Act 766, enjoins SNIT to review pensions in payment to wage inflation or any rate, wage inflation of active contributors or any rate that will be determined by SNIT in consultation with MPRA. That's the first reason. The second, as I indicated earlier, is to preserve the purchasing power of pensioners. So what goes into indexation? 4 main factors. The first is we project the wage inflation. And this year, the wage inflation has been projected to be 20%. That is one factor that we take into account in arriving at the indexation rate for a particular year.
Joseph Poku is the chief actuary at SNIT. Now, the Ghana Statistical Service has commenced the 5th Integrated Business Establishment Survey aimed at gathering data on businesses in both the informal and formal sectors of the economy. At the opening ceremony, the National Project Coordinator of the survey, Anthony Kakra, said the data collected will be used in producing the business register for the country, as well as analyzed to provide insight into the growth of businesses.
The difference in these 2024 IBES or economic census is that it covers every business, both the informal and informal sector. And the data we're going to get will be used to produce the business register for this country. We have previous business registers, but this is quite different in terms of the coverage for the informal sector. And so it's going to give us data to produce the business register for this country that will be used to produce the statistics on the growth of businesses in the country, produce statistics on the GDP, produce statistics on employment. Of course, getting data and will help us to plan well. If you do planning or implement programs without having quality data, then you are missing it.
National Project Coordinator for the Integrated Business Establishment Survey, Anthony Kakra. To some other stories, there are more calls for the Ghana Revenue Authority to engage the business community before tax policies are designed to encourage adherence. Tax analyst Francis Timoboy is of the view that the numerous taxes expected to have started from January 1 this year would have been seamless implemented if businesses have been adequately consulted.
The ones that were passed, especially the 2023 budget. So yes, we all agree that the number of taxes that we have now appears to be too many. And especially when the businessmen are saying that it's using their operations, then I think it calls for concern that all of us have to sit down and see how do we make the tax system more friendly and business focused so that it will enhance economic growth.
Tax analyst Francis Timoboy speaking there. Now, cybersecurity service providers, cybersecurity establishment, and cybersecurity professionals without licenses or accreditation have been barred from operating in Ghana. This is the latest directive from the Cybersecurity Authority, effective January 1, 2024. There's more in this report.
The directive follows a deadline issued by the Cybersecurity Authority to service providers to obtain licenses or accreditation to operate fully in the country. The authority says it will fully enforce the provisions of the Cybersecurity Act 2022, Act 1038, regarding its mandate to regulate entities operating in the cyberspace. Accordingly, persons who offer cybersecurity services without license or accreditation granted by the authority do so in contravention of the Act and will face the full rigors of the law, including criminal prosecutions and administrative penalties where applicable. Institutions and individuals are consequently advised to engage only licensed firms and persons in the country.
A Business Desk report. You're still listening to the Joy Business Report. Now, there is a looming threat to Ghana's food and nutrition security attributable to the country's fast depleting soil health. Contemporary farming practices, including inorganic fertilizer application, tillage, and the pressing impacts of climate change continue to threaten biodiversity in soils, affecting soil fertility. This week on The Food Chain, Emmanuel Bright Kweku interacts with experts who are advocating the uptake of primitive agricultural practices that can boost agricultural production and restore the health of Ghana's soil.
Several research conducted by soil experts on the quality of Ghana's soil reveal nearly 40% of the country's soil is degrading. Owing to the higher demand of farm produce against the growing human population, application of inorganic fertilizer became the common practice for a bumper and quicker harvest. But experts say revolutionizing the sector through synthetic farming techniques has rather contributed to depleting soil fertility. Many farmers across the country are recording lower yields.
When you grow your crops, you get a much rain.
Judith Daite is a maize, pepper, and okra farmer in the Volta region.
For the pepper, the number 5 sack, you get like 6 or 8. But now, even if I plow 1.5 acre, I don't get up to 5. After selling all your crops, you see that the money you put inside the farming business and the money you got as the outcome there's a big difference.
The consequential impact on profits made locally is pushing farmers to export their produce.
We don't sell here again because of the money, so we export it to Togo.
Reports suggest 2023 is on track to become the hottest year since global records began 2 centuries ago. Already, the impact of the changing temperature is negatively affecting the horticultural sector. Professor Harrison Dapa is a crop scientist.
Climate change is affecting most of our horticultural crops. The mango sector, we've seen that there has been increase in the mango weevil and other pest disease on the mangoes, which has affected the export potential of the mangoes and others.
With dwindling farming production capacity threatening Ghana's food security, nutrition security is additionally becoming a major concern. Francis Appiah is head of the horticulture department at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology.
When you are dealing with nutrition security, it goes a little beyond food security. Food security is looking at the quantities you are taking. But nutrition security is looking broadly at intake of food for well-being. So you are not only filling your stomach, you are ensuring that your health is intact. And if we are not food secured, we are unlikely to be nutrition secured.
Experts in the horticulture sector are advocating the uptake of regenerative agriculture to mitigate climate change and restore healthy soils.
Now we should reduce the number of times that we plow. We don't need to till. We need to reduce the application of biochemical input so that we can maintain the fertility and also break the pesticide cycle.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
That's all for the Joy Business Report. Before we go, let me tell you more about the EcoBank salary account. Well, the EcoBank salary account is a special account designed for workers of all income brackets desirous of receiving their salaries through EcoBank. With the EcoBank salary account, you are guaranteed all the benefits of a normal savings or current account plus many more. EcoBank salary account gives workers free life insurance cover of up to 10,000 cedis, 24/7 access to cash and e-banking services, internet and mobile banking services, high interest on savings, no minimum balance, ability to save through the EcoBank Save as you spend, a unique feature that helps customers to save and invest. Remember, the insurance policy covers death, permanent or temporary disability, critical illness, hospitalization, retrenchment, and more. Savings or current account holders at EcoBank do not have to close the existing accounts to enjoy the numerous benefits of the EcoBank salary account. Just ask your branch to switch your existing account to the EcoBank salary account. Non-EcoBank account holders should approach any EcoBank branch and ask for the EcoBank salary account. Switch your salary account today and enjoy amazing benefits at EcoBank. Call EcoBank toll free on 0800 003 225 wherever for further details. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Always a pleasure serving you. Ignition is next. Do enjoy.